Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I am on a financial freedom journey with my family. Today I'm going to be talking about our house and the house buying process. I know I told you guys I was going to be filming this video a while ago and I just have not been able to get around to it. So I'm really excited to be filming it today. I have a lot of questions. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my phone. So I wrote all of them down. They are not in really any particular order. I just kind of took them from Instagram. So I'm just gonna go in the order that they came in. If you guys are new here, my name is Amy again, and we just purchased our second house. So we sold our first house in July, the very end of July, and then we bought this house the middle of August. So that's a little bit about me. If you're new to my channel, I normally do videos on like budgeting and debt payoff and stuff like that. We are now debt free, and yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So first question I got on Instagram was, did you get an inspection? So that's a really good question. We did get an inspection, but we also bought a new build house, and so there was certain inspections that came with that. So we actually got to inspect the house while they were still building it. So we got to come in and like do an electrical walkthrough, and then like the trim when they started doing like carpeting and things like that. And then we did like a final one before we closed. So we had multiple inspections, which was really nice. And it was also a new build, so we weren't like as concerned about like issues like that, you know, when you buy like an older house. So yes, we did do an inspection. We had multiple inspections. Experience as a second-time home buyer. So this is a very broad question, but I would say our experience as a second-time home buyer was pretty stressful, to be completely honest. So I thought it was going to be less stressful because we had bought a house before. And so I was like, okay, well, we've already done this. So, you know, I feel like, you know, we know what we're doing and all that stuff. But it was actually, I feel like, more stressful because of the fact that we already owned a home. And so we had to sell our house, buy our house, try to like line those up. And then it was really stressful, like selling our house. And yeah, that, like, honestly, that piece of it was the most stressful. The actual buying of this house wasn't that stressful, but it was just trying to like line all of the things up and make sure that like our house sold. And also it was kind of a weird time to be selling a house too, I feel like, because it was kind of like the market was starting to kind of change. And if you guys are paying attention to the real estate market now, like it has definitely shifted a lot. And I feel like we were kind of right at the beginning of that, like right before it really started shifting, which was lucky for us because we were able to still sell our house really quickly, which I'll get into. I think there's more questions about this, so I don't want to give too much away yet because I know that there's probably other questions. But yes, it was stressful. So our experience overall was like good, but definitely was filled with a lot of stress with the selling of our house. So let me see. What will you miss about the home that you sold? So we loved our first house. It was the perfect like first house for us. It was really small, 1,300 square feet, 3 bedrooms. We actually made it, when we bought it, it was a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. We actually added a shower in the master bedroom to make like an ensuite. It used to be like a pass-through bathroom. And so we did a lot of work on the house. If you guys have followed me for a while, I shared a decent amount of it on Instagram back when we were doing it. So like 2020, 2021 was when we did the majority of the work. We added a bathroom to make it a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. And then we also completely remodeled the kitchen. I will pop up some pictures if I remember of the kitchen previously, and then also when we redid it. So we did a lot of work on the house, and yeah, it was a beautiful house. We loved it. It had an amazing yard. It was on over 1/2 acre, but something that we learned when buying our new house and living in it for almost 5 years was that we do not enjoy yard work. So even though we loved the beautiful big backyard, it was not really a good fit for us. And that's just, these are things that you kind of learn when you buy your first house, I feel like. It's just, you don't know until you buy one, right? Like you don't know what you're going to enjoy. So yeah, I'm glad that we bought that house. We absolutely loved it. But unfortunately, we just kind of outgrew it. When we moved into that house, we only had 1 child and we left with 3. So we definitely grew our family quite a bit in that house, and it's very special to us, but we just kind of outgrew it. So I will miss a lot of things about that house. I miss, you know, our yard, and we had really nice neighbors. But overall, I don't regret moving, if that makes sense. You know, of course there are gonna be things that you miss about a certain house, but I don't regret moving. And it was much older. It was built in the 60s, and there's just a lot of maintenance that was going to be coming up that we were kind of like, okay, this might be a good time for us to buy, if we're gonna buy, you know, do it now while the house is still in great condition, and kind of get out of like having to replace the windows and do like some of the bigger maintenance items. So yes, how much were your movers, and would you hire movers again? So if you're new here, we did hire movers for the first time ever. My husband and I have moved a lot over the years, and we've never hired movers before, so this was a first for us. Would I do it again? Yes, 155%, okay? It was so worth the money. To be honest, this was really the first time that we could afford it. When we bought our first house, we were like, you know, the down payment was maxing us out, okay? That was all of our savings pretty much. I would definitely not recommend this. This is just the mistakes that we made when we bought our first house. So yeah, we were kind of like maxed out, so we definitely couldn't have afforded to do movers at that point, but I am so glad that we did it. It was a lot less hassle for us, and we have young kids, and I feel like it just took so much stress off of the day. So yes, 100% I would hire movers again, and I would recommend it if you can do so, that you do it, because I feel like it was definitely money well spent. They did an awesome job. Was the Zillow estimate accurate for what you ended up selling your house for? So this is a great question. It was really close. So when we sold the house, I took a look at Zillow, like the month that we were kind of in the process of selling the house, and it fluctuated between like $1,000 to $3,000, but it was like right on. The Zestimate itself was really like dead on, which I was surprised, because I feel like I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, it's so off, like it's thousands of dollars off, and it probably is, also depending on your area and all of those things, and like the house and yada yada. But yeah, it was like dead on for us. We sold it for pretty much what the Zestimate was, which was awesome. I was definitely lowballing it a lot in my net worth updates. If you guys have ever watched our net worth updates, I was definitely very much on the low end of what we ended up selling it for. So yeah, I would rather be careful, but we also were like way underestimating, I think, what it was actually worth. What is the interest rate on your new house? I know that they're going up right now. Okay, good question. So we locked in our interest rate. So if you watched my last Debt-Free Friday video, we locked in our interest rate a few months ago, actually, like months before we bought the house, when we kind of figured out that rates were starting to go up, and our lender let us lock the rate. So we actually locked at 4.125, which is awesome. I mean, it's like our interest rate on our old house was 3%, flat 3%. So obviously it's more than that, but interest rates now are like 5-6%. So we definitely locked at the right time, and I definitely don't regret that decision. We definitely made the right call there. So what percentage did you put down on your new house? So that's a great question. I was not sure if we were going to be able to do 20% down initially when we first started talking about buying a new house, selling our old house. We were aiming to put 20% down to avoid PMI, but we weren't sure. Obviously, like the majority of our down payment, almost all of it, came from the sale of our first house. So we kind of weren't sure at that time, like what we were going to be able to get for the house, and you know how that was going to work. So we did end up putting about 25% down, because we got more for our house than we even expected. It was like crazy. So we got more than we expected for the house. We put all of it down and then some, a little bit more from our house fund. So yeah, we were able to put about 25% down, which is nuts. Like what? We barely even put 3% down on our first house. And I think that just shows you the power of, you know, building equity in homes and then flipping them onto your new home. So we put a quarter down, which was awesome. We were able to get a really good rate. So I felt really good about the whole process for that. Any home projects for your new house? No, at least not anytime soon. I would say the only, we did redo our closet. So that was one thing we did do. We just had like the builder grade, like wire shelves in our master closet. And we wanted something that was a little more like custom, not custom, but you know, like a little nicer. And so we actually got a system from the Container Store, Alpha, like an Alpha system, and installed that, and it's been working out perfect. We love it. So that was, I guess, a home project. But other than that, I don't anticipate anything anytime soon. The only thing that we really do want to do is our basement eventually. We want to finish our basement, which is very expensive. So that's not going to be for like years from now, but eventually we would like to do that. How many houses did you see before buying the one that you ended up with? So we didn't really see any. So when we first decided we were going to sell the house, we started to look in the area that we wanted to live, which it was a specific school district that we wanted to live in. So we were kind of looking in this area, and we found this neighborhood, which was in the process of being built. So we kind of knew at that point we were probably going to end up buying like a model or building. So yes, we ended up buying a house in this neighborhood, a new build, and it worked out perfectly for us. So we saw the model of this house that we currently live in, and so I guess we saw one. And it was like the model of this floor plan, so it wasn't even this actual house. So do with that what you may. But we didn't actually see any houses because at that point we had decided we weren't going to try to buy a house that was existing. We knew we wanted to live in this neighborhood. So we were like, all right, we're going to do it. And then we, decided to list our house. And that was kind of how the ball started rolling. Was we found this neighborhood and we were like, this is a great opportunity. The builder is awesome. And my sister actually has built 2 houses from this builder that built our house now. And they were great to work with. So she highly recommended them to us. And we were like, cool, sounds good. They have a neighborhood in our preferred district, and it just kind of all fell together from there. So yeah, we saw one house, I guess, and it was the house we bought. How big is your new house in comparison to your old house? So I did film a house tour. I'll try and link it in the cards below, and I'll try to remember to pop it up somewhere above here. How big is the new house? So it is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom. Like I said earlier, our old house was a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, so it's a decent amount bigger. Our old house was about 1,300 square feet, and our new house is about 2,000. So about 700 square foot bigger, and our new house also has an office. So that's where I'm sitting right now. This is our office. Again, you'll see it in the house tour if you watch it. Don't mind all this stuff in the background. I'm filming this at night again, so I didn't have time to clean up and film it. So I'm just filming. I'm doing that instead. So yes, it's quite a bit bigger, but again, we have 3 kids now, and so I feel like we needed the space. And I feel like 2,000 square feet really isn't that big, honestly, personally. I guess it depends on like your view of it, because I feel like some people might think that 2,000 square feet is like huge, and some people might be like, that's not even a big house, that's like a small house. So I guess it's like perspective, right? But for us, it felt like the perfect amount of square feet without being too much, because I didn't want a big house. Like I wanted basically big enough for our family where we weren't like stepping over each other, but also not too big that it was like a pain to clean and, a lot to upkeep. Because again, like I stated earlier, we're not like huge gardening maintenance type of people. That we're just not. We like to, I like cleaning, but like not that much. So big enough, not too big. That's kind of what we settled on. This was another question that was similar to the one before. How was the process of selling, and do you have any tips for selling your house? So again, the process was pretty stressful. We listed it and it sold really quick though. So I feel kind of like, how is it even stressful, right? Like we got lucky because we sold it so quickly. So we listed the house on a Wednesday. We had 80 showing requests in 2 days. So we listed it Wednesday and we sold it by Thursday night. So yes, it was a whirlwind couple of days. It was very stressful because we had to be out of the house basically for 2 entire days. And with 3 kids, we were like going crazy. Like, what do we do? We did end up getting a hotel, and it was a lot. But I feel very grateful that it was like fairly easy from that perspective, because we did sell it so quickly. I was very nervous that we weren't going to sell it. So yeah, it went really quick and I was really happy about that. We accepted an offer again on Thursday at night. So we had it listed basically for 24 hours, a little bit over 24 hours. And the offer that we accepted waived the inspection. So that made it a lot easier too. We just had to get through the appraisal, and the house did appraise pretty close. It was like $4,000 under, and they just paid that at closing because they had an appraisal waiver too. So yes. Any tips for selling? So I think the biggest thing for me was I tried really hard to like stage our home for the photos. I will try to pop a couple up here if I remember again. When I'm editing, I'll try and pop a few pictures of our house. I did share them on Instagram back when we were selling the house too, if you guys have been following me for that long, but I'll pop up a few pictures. I worked really hard to like deep clean and stage the house so that it was nice looking, as nice as possible, I guess, with 3 kids. I tried to keep it that way. And then when we did showings, like, you know, I tried to make it as spotless as I could. And yes, I feel like that really, really helped. I took out like any excess furniture. I tried to make it feel really open and clean and just, you know, like a place where you would want to live, right? Like just a very nice, clean house. Other tips I have for selling are get a realtor that you trust. We used our realtor that we actually bought the house with. He's awesome. And I feel like he was really knowledgeable about the market and definitely helped us along the way. So definitely find a good realtor. All right, sorry, my battery died, so I had to switch that out. All right, any other tips for selling? So yes, other than getting a good realtor, I would just say like relax. It's gonna be okay. Like things will work out. Try not to be so stressed out. That's what I wish I could tell myself if I went back in time, because I was like just a ball of anxiety the entire time and it was not healthy for me. I was very stressed out. So just relax. You'll be okay. Everything will work out and you will sell your house eventually. So take a deep breath. Let me see. Did you do any upgrades to your new house? So we did not do a ton of upgrades. A couple of things that we did add were we added the French doors to the office. If you watch my home tour video, you'd see those. Otherwise, I'm trying to think. Did we do any other upgrades? I don't think we really did any other upgrades. We picked our own like lights and stuff, but we were within our budget, so that wasn't really an upgrade. We did, the appliances. So we had the option to do like the builder grade package of appliances, which was cheaper, but we actually hand picked each appliance instead because I just felt like that was better. I don't know. I wanted to like read reviews and pick my own appliances. So that's what we did. We picked each individual appliance by itself, and we actually brought our fridge from our old house. So we saved a little bit of money by reusing the fridge that we had at the old house here. And then we picked the appliances. Otherwise, upgrades, we did change some flooring. So this room here is LVP, which is luxury vinyl plank, and it was actually supposed to be carpet. So we did upgrade that. Other than that, I don't really think anything. Oh, we did the countertops in the bathrooms. They were originally going to be laminate and we upgraded them to quartz because that's what we have in the kitchen. So other than that, I think that's it. I would have to ask my husband because honestly, I don't remember. We didn't do a lot though. We pretty much just did what was here. So any regrets or things that you wish you would have done differently? I'm assuming this is like the whole process, like buying and selling. No, because everything kind of worked out the way that it needed to. Yeah, I don't think I have any regrets. I do wish that we could have added an egress window in our basement, but we could not do that because it was too far along in the process. So that stinks that we couldn't do that because I would have done that because we do eventually want to add a bedroom down there. And so now if we do add a bedroom down there, we're gonna have to put an egress. But like I said, it was too far along in the process for us to do so. So we, it's not like we could have changed that, but yes, I would have done that. Otherwise, in general, I don't have any regrets. I feel like we did the right thing as far as selling. I feel like we listed it well. I feel like we did everything that we could to make it a smooth process. And yeah, no regrets, I don't think, which is a good feeling, because I feel like sometimes, you know, there's so many big life decisions going on when you're buying and selling houses that I feel like it can be a time where, you know, things are missed or mistakes are made, and it can be a time that maybe you would regret things, but I genuinely don't. I wouldn't do anything different. If we could do it all over again, I would do pretty much the exact same thing. So no regrets. Logistics of down payment, and did they offer you a HELOC option? So I thought this was an interesting question. It's very specific. I have heard about the HELOC option. I will briefly kind of explain what that is if you're not familiar. So if you are not able to put 20% down, some lenders will offer you an option where you can actually get a HELOC to make it so you have 20% down so that you don't have to pay PMI. Now, I'm not an expert on this. I've just heard of it just by being in like the finance space. But no, we did not get that offered to us because we had more than 20% down. So there was no reason that we would need to do that. But I know that is an option. Again, I don't really know much about it other than like I know what it is and what the purpose of it is. Logistics of our down payment. So like I said, we basically just flipped all of the equity from our previous house onto our new house. And so logistically, it was fairly easy, and it was made easier because we actually sold our house the end of July, and we didn't buy this house until the middle of August. And we had them write into their offer that we had a closing occupancy. So we were able to stay in our old house for 3 weeks after we sold it. And yes, so we had the money from the sale of our house within a few days, and then it just sat in our savings account until we bought this house. So it was a pretty easy, like there was no like quick turnaround time of needing the money to be there and then like try to flip it quickly, if that makes sense. So it was much easier because we had the closing occupancy. So we had the cash already, and then we were able to just make the down payment. Budget changes with the new house. So I have published a couple of budget videos. I will link the October budget down below if you want to check that out. Budget changes, nothing really other than our mortgage is going up. And then, you know, I think our utilities will probably go up a little bit, but probably nothing huge or major. Sorry, got interrupted for tucking in my biggest kid. So other than budget changes, I don't really anticipate having many other ones because like I said, like we already owned a house, so we pretty much already had the same things in our budget, like our water bill, electric. That's pretty much all I can think of. And then unexpected costs. So if you guys haven't watched my Debt-Free Friday from last week, I will link it down below. I did talk about how we used our house fund. So go check that out because I talked about how we used all of the money basically besides what we put as our down payment. So go check that out because I talk a lot about unexpected costs. So I will not repeat it here because I already talked about it in that video. So if you want to go watch that, check it out. And that is all the questions I had from Instagram. So if you guys have any other questions, leave them down below. I hope that you guys enjoyed this type of video. I don't do a ton of like face-to-face videos, but if you guys like these kind of videos, let me know. I would love to film more of them. And yeah, again, if you have any questions, I am an open book, so let me know. And I will talk to you guys on Friday. Bye guys.